One of the most difficult industries to do digital marketing for is attorneys. There's special regulations and there's special rules as an attorney that you cannot break. That makes it extremely difficult. Today, we make it simple for attorneys to do digital marketing. We're going to take you through the steps, what you need to do, what you can forget about, and help you create a strategic digital marketing plan for either yourself as a solopreneur or for your firm to be more successful. Digital marketing is tough for attorneys. You really have to be careful about what you say. You can't do anything that could be construed as offering legal advice. And so it becomes kind of difficult. Social media is all about creating relationships. And that's the one thing you can't do online as an attorney. You cannot create a client-attorney relationship. So it really forces you to rethink social media, rethink digital marketing, and create a strategy that works best for you. So how do we create a plan that takes into consideration all these limitations? One word, very carefully. Let me go over some of the essential elements of a digital marketing plan for an attorney. First of all, by far, most importantly, if you get anything out of this video, you have to know that your website has to be the best website in your area, in your practice area. So geographically where you're located and in your practice area, you have to have the best, the most information on your website for you to achieve results. All right. Other elements that are important: search engine marketing, search engine advertising, social media, and maybe a little bit of display ads. I'm going to get into each one of these categories now. Let's start out with your website. Your website is really the center of your digital universe. It's where everything you do online needs to come back to. And so it really has to be good, especially in the legal industry. Because whatever you do on social media, whatever you do in digital ads, you're always going to bring those people back to your website. So it has to be perfect. What are some of those elements of a great website? First of all, it's got to load quickly. If it's loading, taking a long time, if you're pulling in this amazing video of you and your law firm and it doesn't load quickly, someone's going to just go back and find a different attorney to look at. It's got to be mobily responsive. Someone gets pulled over by a police officer, they look on their phone immediately. Best attorneys for DUIs, best attorneys for traffic offenses. So you have to be mobily responsive. Third of all, it's got to be aesthetically pleasing. People want to work with attorneys that appear professional. They don't want a shabby old website. It kind of says something to your character, so you want to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward. You have to also take into consideration whether you want to be that personable attorney or the law firm attorney. So people generally want to do business with people. They like dealing with people. That's why you see a lot of law firms' names. A lot of law firms have names in them, and the attorneys are doing testimonial videos. So I think that's why a lot of people want to deal with people. I think that's why that happens. But there's also some kind of grandeur to people working with a very established, prestigious firm. So you have to look at your website and say, who are my customers? Would they rather have that person to deal with, or do they want that fancy law firm name, and then build your website out according to that? Next, and probably one of the most important, is information. People want to come to your website for information. You know, they really care less about your qualifications, but more about what you're saying about DUIs or real estate laws or other kinds of legal questions. So if you're putting out information online, people are looking for that. You're going to appear in search engines based on that information. It's really important to have all of that on your website. You should definitely not have a 3 to 5 page website. You need to have a website that's jam-packed with relevant legal information. You also have to have a quick way for the customer to reach you, or the visitor to reach you. You shouldn't make them look or search for a contact page. There should be somewhere online where they can immediately call you or immediately send you an email or immediately chat with you for more information. When it comes to digital ads, they're very expensive. So you want to make sure that you're not missing that opportunity to communicate with a new client. The last thing I would say is you have to make sure that there are elements of credibility on your website. So make sure that you put a Super Lawyers or Avo rating on there. Make sure people know that you're a good attorney. So put some of those points. It doesn't mean that if you have a high rating on Avo or Super Attorneys, you are a good attorney, but you want to make sure that you're putting ratings out there, you're putting something out there so people know that they're dealing with a credible attorney. That's your website. Next is search engine marketing. So a couple things that you want to do when it comes to search engine marketing. Overall, when you think of search engine marketing, all that means is making sure that you're the #1 attorney that pops up when someone Googles your practice area. So the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that your website was properly submitted to Google and the other major search engines. It's a task that's usually done by your web designer, but you want to make sure, maybe check with your web designer or go ahead and see if you are submitted to Google. It's a really important thing. Next, you want to make sure that your website has been optimized for search. If you click on the link on this video, or if you click on the link below this video, I'm going to show you a way where you can get a free analysis of whether your website is optimized for search. So click on the link below and we will give you a free analysis as to see if your website is actually optimized for search engines. Next, pay very close attention to what's called the titles and the meta descriptions of your web page, each page on your website. And the reason why it's important is because, once Google ranks you, what the customer sees on Google is your title and your meta description. Those need to be sales pitches for your law firm or for your business. So go ahead and make sure that each one of those titles and descriptions are unique to each page and are compelling, so if someone reads them, they want to click to your website. The next thing is Google ranks websites based on a number of people that link to their website. So say for instance, your website has 3 or 4 different people who link their websites to yours, and someone else's website has 500 people who link their websites to yours. Google is going to say that other person is more credible because people have put more links to your website. So make sure that you're out there grabbing people's opportunities to link to your website. So if you're part of a chamber, ask the chamber to include a link to your website. If you sponsor something, make sure they include a link to your website. Go ahead and make sure you establish all those links coming into your website and you'll do better in search. Next, this is a really difficult one, but it's critically important, and I wouldn't suggest it if it wasn't so important, but you have to come up with some kind of review strategy. This is really difficult, especially if you're an attorney that deals with bankruptcy or more sensitive issues. People don't want to go online and say, I had to go through bankruptcy, but you were the best attorney to get me through there. So you got to figure out some way to get your happiest customers to leave you positive reviews. The reason why is when you Google someone's name and they have that first group of entries on Google, you're going to see the local attorneys, and that attorney list is determined by geography and by the number of ratings and the overall rating. So I think it's important that you come up with some kind of review strategy. We can help you with that. We're kind of experts in the review area, so we'd love to help you with that. If you have questions, give me a call or leave us a message below. But you have to create some kind of review strategy for your firm. Finally, when we talk about search engine marketing, we talk about something called journeys. And in this case, we call it a situational journey. So what happens is you want to take, for instance, a situation. So I am a young individual who just got pulled over for speeding. All right. You want to think about what is that person going to Google and what questions does that person have? What's the fine for speeding 15 miles over the speed limit? What's the fine for speeding and hitting someone? What's the fine for different infractions? So you want to make make sure you take that person's journey and say, okay, these are the questions that this person's going to ask. Where on my website do I answer those questions? And if I was that person Googling it, what kind of keywords do I have to put into Google to get there? So you want to make sure you're taking these journeys and saying, okay, that person is going to go to Google, they're going to type in what to do if I got pulled over for speeding, and then offer an article that answers that question, and then in that article, give that person an opportunity to reach out to you for advice or for consultation. So creating that journey from that person's initial contact with you through Google all the way through their contact with you for a consultation. So create that journey on every different aspect of your practice area, and then implement search engine marketing strategies based on those journeys. The next thing is search engine advertising. And what I want to do right now is congratulate the attorneys, because you are the fourth most expensive, the fourth highest priced keyword in Google. So congratulations, it just cost you a whole bunch of money. A click rate for an attorney average is about $45. So that means if someone Googles in bankruptcy attorney and you bought that word bankruptcy attorney and someone clicks on it, it's going to cost you $45. What that also means is that if you wanted 10 clicks per day, and that would cost you $450 in spending for one day, which is $3,150 per week, or something like $13,000 or $14,000 per month. So Google pay-per-click or AdWords is very, very expensive for attorneys. So if you choose to use it, you've got to be very strategic. You've got to get a hold of a Google certified partner like Boxless so that your funds are not being wasted and are working to the best. So you want to make sure that if someone clicks on your website and you just paid $45, you're going to get that person to turn into a lead. So going ahead and making sure that if you are doing search engine advertising, which is extremely effective, you're doing it perfectly. All right, you should be very strategic when it comes to timing. You should be very strategic when it comes to platform, meaning do I want to really focus my ads on people who are Googling me from a cell phone versus a computer? So you can be strategic there. And then be very, very careful about areas you want to serve and the right keywords to use. So keywords, the different keywords can make a big difference. And sometimes if you use like long tail keywords, like what do I do if I was pulled over for speeding versus traffic attorney, you can save a lot of money. Finally, what you want to do when it comes to search engine advertising or PPC advertising is making sure that you're backing up the PPC with a remarketing campaign specifically on social media. So that means if you just paid $45 to come to your website, you want to make sure when that person leaves your website, they're still receiving ads about your law firm. So that's an example of this would be, you know, if you go to Home Depot's website and you look at a drill and then you leave Home Depot's website and all of a sudden you see that drill everywhere. Well, that happens often on Google and can be very annoying. So what we recommend is doing your remarketing through social media. Almost everyone has a social media account. I think something like 75% of Americans have a Facebook account. So if you go ahead and back up your PPC advertising with some social media remarketing is somewhere in the area of $10 per 1,000 ads served, which is a completely different number range than PPC advertising. So go ahead and back up the PPC with some social media advertising. It can be very effective. Now, the hardest part of digital marketing for all attorneys is social media. You know, when you're doing social media, you really have to be careful about what you're talking to, what kind of advice you're giving, and making sure that you're not establishing a client-attorney relationship with anyone who's reading your posts. So first thing to do is to consider your audience. Know who your audience is and where they are. So are you a neighborhood attorney who specializes in traffic or criminal defense? Are you a neighborhood attorney who focuses on wills and estates? Are you a more of a national or regional attorney that deals with high-profile defense or high-profile criminal law or high-profile business law? Then it's a whole different area. So you gotta know really who your audience is and be careful and go ahead and create that social media presence based on who your audience is. If you're a neighborhood attorney, social media can be really effective because people like to deal with people. So, if you're out there and getting your name out there and people recognize you as the local attorney, it can be really impactful. So if you're in a neighborhood, social media can be very effective. What I would say on social media you should be doing is really promoting the content on your website on social. So if you write an article about what to do if you're pulled over by a police officer and for speeding, then you should be sharing that content on your social media platforms. The other option would be to look into a professional social media platform like LinkedIn for co-counseling opportunities. So if you're a general attorney and you don't really specialize in workman's comp cases, maybe you want to find someone on your LinkedIn who deals with that, and you can really kind of build those partnerships. So maybe you focus more on, medical malpractice, someone else, specializes in workman's comp, and you kind of share cases through co-counseling there. So using LinkedIn to really promote co-counseling opportunities or build those co-counseling relationships is something that could be really effective. The next part of social media I think is kind of interesting for you would be just social media advertising, because you can really be pretty targeted or really targeted when it comes to social media ads. They know exactly where the people are located. They know age groups and demographics. So really being able to target some of your ads to specific demographics online. So for example, I want to put out something about, the 5 things that you need to have in your will. That's something definitely that you can promote on social media to people over a certain age group, or maybe people over 60 are thinking about their wills. So promoting that kind of content to people over 60 in a certain area might be effective. All right. Other thing to think about doing is creating partnerships on social media. So if you're a real estate attorney, coming up with a partnership opportunity with real estate agents online. Or if you're a wills and estates attorney, possibly partnering with nursing homes or assisted living centers. Or if you're a business attorney, partnering with chambers of commerce, kind of creating those social media partnerships online that will help you to increase your business. The last part of social media that I think you really need to consider, and this is often one that's a little bit more difficult than the others, is video marketing on YouTube. Videos can be extremely impactful, especially in the legal area, because first of all, I think if you are in a situation that requires an attorney, you want to talk to someone, you want to experience what they're talking about in a different way than just reading an article. So if I got caught up in a situation where I needed to file a bankruptcy to get out of a financial hardship, it might be softer for someone to hear a YouTube video about bankruptcy than reading an article about the 2 different kinds of bankruptcy, or 3 different kinds of bankruptcy, or how many other kinds of bankruptcy there are. So if you have someone on video kind of explaining that process, it might be a lot more effective, or it will be a lot more effective than just reading an article. Final part of social media that I want to talk about is something called display ads. Display ads are ads that run on the side of major news sites or other websites. So something to consider for attorneys is looking into some of those display ads. So really focusing on very strategic websites, looking at really targeting those areas for remarketing opportunities, or even if you're a general use attorney, the display ads can be extremely impactful. So consider display ads. They're a lot cheaper than typical PPC search ads. but they can be extremely effective, especially because they're picture ads. Display ads allow you to show a picture or an image, so I think pictures can be more impactful than just words. So using a display ad to back up some of your remarketing opportunities, or going ahead and including display ads as a backup to your PPC ads, can be pretty effective. So there's a lot to consider if you're an attorney and you're looking into getting to digital marketing. Someone like us at Boxless Media are very well equipped to help out attorneys. We have taught CLEs through the Chicago Bar Association. We have lectured to other attorneys, so it's important to find someone who understands the intricacies of digital marketing specifically for attorneys. If you want more information, click on the link below. You can also leave us a message or can contact us online or via phone. So we look forward to hearing from you. Once again, digital marketing is really difficult for attorneys. You need someone who really understands the intricacies of marketing within the legal industry. So give us a buzz and we'll be happy to help you out.